Good day, everyone. We are here to present the psychosocial theory of Erikson's. Who is Erikson's? So Erikson's is a German-American psychologist who developed of the most popular and influential development theories. Erikson's theory focuses and centered on psychosocial rather than the psychosexual. So psycho means brain, mind, and personality, while social means external relationships and environment. So it is known as the epigenetic principle. This principle suggests that people grow in a sequence that occurs of time in the context of a larger community. So this explains developed through a predetermined of our personalities in sequence order. So this means that ang ato adong developments is based sa atong mga na-experience diri sa atong community and the environment that we are surrounded. So for example, kita kay naata sa household nga kanang grabe kaayo ka, let's say, chaotic, diba? So, that means na imuhang mind is kanang dalira mo grow, kay daghan makag ma-realize nga kanang nga mistakes kay dapat dili ni siya kanang what is this called, dili ni mausab na ko nga mabuhat, kay wrong man siya, of course. So, dili na ni mo buhaton in the future. So, imuhang mind is mas mo grow pa siya and mo matured. So, this that means the Erikson's theory of psychosocial and influence of one's environment, as I said earlier. So this influence of one's environment earlier experiences results in one's personality. This theory also is kanang magmatter sa imong experiences ang imong paggrow sa mind, kay kanang the bisag gamay pa imong edad kay kanang niya daghan kag experiences, daghan kag realizations, daghan kayo kag kanang mga na-learn sa other people's mistake or sa imuha mismo nga mistake, kay kanang mag-grow imong mind, mas mo mature ka bisag kanang gamay pa imong edad. So that's it.
So okay, as the continuation of this topic, which is the psychosocial crisis, when we say psycho, it is related to the mind, the body, and the personality. But here, the psychosocial crisis, in simple terms, it is like when you imagine, like as you grow up, you face a lot of challenges, circumstances, and obstacles in life. And each challenges, it changes your personality and how you interact with the world. Let's begin with each stage has a crisis. Like as you go through different life stages, like being a baby, a toddler, a child, a teenager, and etc. You face different crises or challenges in life. Like here in psychosocial crisis, it focuses to four things emotion, which is the syntonic or the positive, and then the dystonic, which is the negative. When we say syntonic, it is the good or the desirable outcome, while the dystonic, it is the negative and the bad and desirable outcome. So example for this one, when we say dystonic and syntonic, like the trust and the mistrust. So as a baby, like kanang bata pata, like we have this question in our mind, like can I trust this person or like these people that who are taking care of us or who are taking care of me? Like mao man na siya ang mga kasagaran nga mga ma-question na to when we are a child. And also syntonic or the positive outcome, like when your parents encourage you to let you try, you develop autonomy or independence and self-confidence. So as a toddler, so mo to siya no, like example siya sa autonomy and shame and doubt. Like sa toddler stage na siya. Kay sa baby na stage is moment to, like kanang mostly mga question nga maingon nato, like makatuo ba ta niya, like napatay trust sa mga tao nga nag-alaga sa tua. Well, there is a toddler stage, which is ang toddler, you want to do things yourself, like dressing or like feeding yourself. Like, di ba, pag baby pa ta, ginapakaon ta, gikanan ta, tapos as for now, we always want like what we are gonna do, kita na magbuhat sa tanan, like nanatay itong mga decisions in life, something like that. And then sa synchronic ani niyang autonomy versus shame and doubt, which is synchronic is the positive outcomes. So if your parents encourage you to let you try, you develop autonomy or like the independence and self-confidence. So yes, this is the positive one. So while on the other hand, there is tonic, the negative outcome. Like if your parents are too controlling or criticize you for failing, you develop shame and doubt. You feel insecure and dependent. So like we are overly dependent na nga mag-think ta, like because it is the negative outcome. Like they are mostly like to control us. Like whatever we gonna do, dili na to mabuhat, like mas masunod ang ilahang gusto, unlike sa tua, like diba, if ever natay ganahan nga mga buhato natay decision na, but they are controlling us nga mga bata pata, or like as a toddler, I mean. So going back here, like how we handle the crisis affects our personality. So it's very easy, like for example, like the way we deal with each of these challenges, it shapes us as to become a better person. Like for example, if we are successfully navigate the trust versus the mistrust as a stage as a baby, you're more likely to be confident and trusting person later in life. And then if you struggle with it, you might be more anxious and suspicious. So for us, mas need yun siyang we gotta think twice. We gotta be like a resilient people nga maka-identify ta which is right and what is wrong, something like that. And then why is it important? Of course, it is very important for us. It is because it helps us understand ourselves and others. And then what it means, by understanding these stages, we can understand why we and other people behave the way we do. Like, kana bitang mostly like mga natural or common things that we did every day, our daily routine, is mas mabuhat pa na tog tarong without someone nga mag-control sa atua. Like, walay mag-command, walay buot if unsay imong buhaton, something like that. Like example ana niya is if you know someone had a difficult childhood where they didn't get so much support, you might understand why they struggle with self-doubt as an adult. Like for example, another example to siya, like based on like based on my self-experience lang nga daghan kit, or mostly a lot of us, and we both know nga daghan tag mga ma-encounter nga mga tao, especially to those people, or should I say strangers, nga encounter na to everyday, or like nga makaingon ta nga lain-lain jud tag gidala na story. Each one of us natay role nga ginagampanan sa atong kinabuhi. And also dito na to makita like kana bitaw siya na tao is naada siya gidala-dala na problema, and then makita nimo the way nga na siya gibuhat, na siya'y ginahuna-huna, mas makathink patag maayo ba nga it's because of that, it's because of this, something inana. So dito na nato masud or ma-differentiate ang duha, like syntonic and dystonic, which is the trust versus the mistrust. Like if you like as of what I've said earlier, like each stages that you'll face, it it changes you, your personality, and as you face these challenges, it becomes the best version of yourself. Like giyon sa nimo pag-encounter, pag-interact ang mga tao nga naa sa imong surroundings, sa imong environment, if unsay na notice nimo, nakita something inana. And also it shows how our experiences, how we are. So sa akong giingon ato ganina, like if unsay mga na-experience nato sa life, ma-consider nato siya as like ma-learn ato, like nabito siya nga history can be repeated by itself. It is because kabalo na ta ma-identify which is right from wrong. And also our past experiences during ato nga mga critical stages have a big impact in our personality, relationships, and how we see the world, as what I've said earlier. So, if a stage is managed well, we carry away a certain virtue or psychosocial strength. So, what is psychosocial strength? Do you have any idea what is it? So please bear with me as I'm gonna tell you what is it. But in a simple terms, psychosocial strength, it is like if you successfully resolve the crisis at each stage, you develop a specific strength or positive quality that will help you in the future. These strengths are called virtues. So, let's go back earlier with our examples. Like, for example, each stages, like sa baby stage, katong mostly atong ma-question nga, where our trust can be developed to the people that we encounter, or like katong, can I trust this person or these people who are taking care of me? Something like that. Like, diba, if you develop trust, the virtue you gain is hope. And yes, it is true. You believe that good things can happen in the future. And while stage sa autonomy versus shame and doubt, which is the toddler stage, virtue ano niya is if you develop autonomy, the virtue will gain as well. And then, you have the determination to do things yourself and make your own choices. So this is right. If we are gonna identify, if we know how to identify like where is right from wrong, like what are the things that we need to do, we need to accomplish and everything, mas dali na gid nato nga ma-thinking siya nga mauna. So those are the mga kaan pa more nga examples. And if we delve down some more examples like sa preschool stage na kanang koan, like initiative versus guilt, no, like ang crisis ani niya is like, do I feel free to try new things and take initiative, or like, or do I feel guilty about my efforts? So diba dito na to siya mas mahuna-hunaan if free ba ta nga mo try sa mga new things, kay mostly mao gini siyang mahitabo if ever bata pata. And then when we're a child, like, this is very, kuan gid kaayo, alarming, like, bata pa ta, di ba, mostly, badungon ta, ay natanga, bawal na, ayaw na, kay, like, for example, sa kutsilyo, mga kuputa, like, I know that, kanang, katong mga bata pa ta before, makaingon dita, like, ang atong mind is full of curiosity about things that we don't know, things that we want to try, we want to explore, we want to discover. Like, puro gid ka na, ang curiosity ang nasa atong mind, that's why we try, we learn, every day we're learning. And then virtue na niya is like if you develop initiative, the virtue you gain is purpose. You can set goals and pursue them with confidence. So the way nga natin trust sa usa ka tawo, or like dito ma-develop ang ato ang pagtuo sa ilaha, pagsalig, like, di ba? And then makabaluta nga, okay, sakto din siya, okay, I am doing great, I am doing good, something inana. So in short, successfully navigating psychosocial stage gives you a specific strength or virtue that will help you throughout your life. So I hope that you learned something.
Malignancy and maladaptation. The negative outcomes of not successfully navigating a psychosocial crisis.
Malignancy involves too little of the positive and too much of the negative aspects of the task. Example, a person who can't trust others. Next is the maladaptation. Maladaptation is not quite as bad. Involves too much of the positive and too little of the negative. Example, a person who trusts too much.
The 8 stages of psychosocial development.
First is the infant 18 months, which is the age. Psychological crisis task. Trust versus mistrust. Virtue development. Hope. Next is 18 months to 3 years. Autonomy versus shame or doubt. Virtue development will be will. Next is 3 to 5 years. Initiative versus guilt. Virtue of development, purpose. Next is 13 to 21 years old. Identity versus confusion. Virtue development, fidelity. Next, 21 to 39 years old. Intimacy versus isolation. Virtue of development. Love. 40 to 65 years old. Generativity versus stagnation. Virtue development. Care. Next, the last. 65 and older. Integrity versus despair. Virtue development. Wisdom. That's all. Thank you.
Emphasis 01 year, which focuses on the crisis of trust and mistrust. So during this stage, infants or a baby is entirely dependent on their caregivers. So sa kanina stage, ang bata is nagsalig siya og nagdepende sa iyahang nani or kinsang always niya nag-alaga. So ara mo process o mo develop ang iyang trust. If there is a positive outcome, there is always a negative outcome. So the positive outcome of this stage, if consistent and responsive ang caregiving to build a sense of trust and hope in the baby. So mo process na, mo develop na yung trust. And also, sa negative outcome is if neglect or inconsistent care leads to a fear of mistrust. So, if kapag always pabaya o hindi consistent ang pag-alaga ng isang nani sa isang baby, ay nagkukos yan ng fear at kawalan. Early childhood, 1 to 3 years old. Autonomy versus shame and doubt. At this age, children start wanting to do things on their own, like walking, choosing toys they like, feeding themselves or dressing themselves they like. If parents encourage these attempts, the children learn and develop independence and develop the virtue of will. But if parents criticize or punish or over-control the child, they may feel ashamed, doubtful of their abilities. They question their abilities. This led to dependence and fear of making mistake. Example: a toddler tries to put on their shoes. The parents smile and say, "Good job, darling. Let me help you with the other one." So, it means the child feels confident and develop their independence because of the good words. The negative is if a baby or a children spill a water while trying to pour it. So the parents shout, "You always make a mess. Don't touch again." So the child feels shame and become afraid to try things alone. So ari na mo down iyang self, iyang equation, iyang mistake. So dili na siya ganahan mo discover of new things kay mahadlok siya masayop. Preschool 3 to 6 years old. So initiative versus guilt. Preschool age, children love to explore. So ara na tamag ganahan og laglaag to explore a new things, to discover a new things, to get more knowledge of world. So take initiative and imagine, do you want to plan games, start activities, pretend to be adults? So if adults support this idea, children develop initiative, leadership, and virtue of purpose. If adults constantly restrict, punish, or ignore them, they may feel guilt for wanting things, afraid to take an action. This led to inhibition of lack of confidence. That's why there are many children who have doubting to themselves, who have lack of confidence. So, example, the positive example is a child wants to cook using toys, utensils. The parent lets them play and even join. So, like diba, naka-remember mo sa una nga palitan tagluto-luto sa tong mga parents? Bisag wata kahibaw nga unsa na siya, unsay mga gamit ana pero ganahan ta mo try. So, ara na ta maka-learn o magamit na to puhon unsaon na to pagluto. Unsa na to paggamit ang mga utensils. The child feels capable and creative, so ara na mag-process food. So, if the negative, a child say, "I want to help clean." and the parents reply angrily. So if mo na kasi mong parents or something, ganahan ka mo tabang sa paglimpyo, pero dili pa maka kamao, magsamok-samok ra ka niya, nasuko sila kay dili ka kamao. No, you just make it harder, sit down. So saka na pa lang, the child feels guilty for wanting to help and become hesitant to initiate things.
And now let's have the stage 4, 5, and 6 of Erikson's theory. Stage 4. The industry versus inferiority. So what is industry? Industry is the positive resolution where children want to learn and be recognized for their work. So, the more you recognize their work, the more capable and confident they are. Sa madaling salita, kung imuhang i-praise ang isa ka bata, the more nga ilahang mabuhat ang ilahang trabaho, the more nga ganahan sila buhaton ang angay nilang buhaton. On the other hand, the inferiority is the negative resolution. If children efforts are consistently criticized or ignored, they may feel inferior and stop trying because they would think that their effort is not enough and they may feel much pressure than praise. In this stage, the more you criticize the children, the more they develop a sense of inferiority. But if you praise them, children may develop a sense of competence. Stage 5. Identity versus role confusion. What is identity? Identity is a sense of self where an individual understands who they are and their place in this world, or the consciousness. Teens explore who they are and what they want to be. The more they explore, the more they know who they are and what is their purpose in this world. While the role confusion is the negative outcome. They feel lost and unsure about their future. They may frequently change their beliefs, appearance, or social groups for a sense of self. In this stage, they actually seek answer to the questions, who really I am and what I'm gonna do now. It means that a successful navigation leads to a strong identity and sense of self, while failure results in rule confusion marked by uncertainty about one's place in this world. Stage 6. Intimacy versus isolation. Intimacy is more than just romance. It characterized by a willingness to commit, share oneself, and communicate deeply with another without losing one's sense of self. Young adult builds a fulfilling relationships. It's a connection built by a closeness, honesty, and love. If successful, they experience deep love and commitment. In contrast, the isolation is the opposite. Young adult may feel isolated because of lack of trust, fear of intimacy, and difficulty connecting with others. If they fail, they choose not to interact with people and not really build strong connections with other people. In this stage, success leads to the ability to form loving and lasting relationships, while failure can result in loneliness and emotional detachment.
Stage 7, which is the middle adulthood. 40 to 65 years. Generativity versus stagnation. In this stage involves adults focusing on work, raising their child, and contributing to society. Positive outcome. It brings a sense of care, useful, and accomplishment. While the negative outcome, failure leads to stagnation, where individual feels like unproductive, unstuck. If not successful, they feel disconnected. And then once too much cares lead to overextension, while not caring causes rejectivity. And that's all for middle adulthood. Stage 8. Late adulthood, 65 plus years. Integrity versus despair. Older adults reflect their life. In this stage, suggests that each at pace of life, individuals face specific psychosocial crises that shape their development and character. The positive outcome is, or virtue wisdom is, older adults reflect on their lives. If they are satisfied, they feel peace and wisdom. While the negative outcome, it filled with regret, they feel despair in themselves. Then once too much pride leads to presumption, while too little caused despair. And that's all for stage 8.
After learning the 8 stages, let us now try to understand what Erikson's theory is really trying to tell us. Erikson shows that each stage of life is important. When we solve these challenges, we grow into better and healthier individuals. His theory also shows that our relationship and interactions with other people shape us in the development and growth of human beings. In our area of life, we want to be competent or do well. Like, of course, kinsa may di ganahan maging maayo sa imuhang ganahan, right? Mo ni ang belief ni Erikson's that a sense of competence may motivates behavior and actions. Meaning, when we are good at something we want to keep doing it because it gives us confidence to move forward. 8 points to remember. Each stage builds in the previous one. As we grow, we experience different kinds of challenges like mistrust, shame and doubt, and so on. Ang kada stage is like a step in growing up. Kay in one stage, it can affect how you handle the next one. Anani magani siya. If we don't learn, it can make the next stage harder. Also, I will not make this longer because this is just a summary. Maong each stage builds on the previous one kay kada part man pod gid sa kada stages kay nag-support siya sa unsay mosunod. It's okay if you don't perfectly resolve each crisis. The theory is a guide, not a strict rule book. Pasabot ana, if you didn't fully resolve a stage before, don't worry because you can still learn and heal later in life. Kaya diba? And I sir, na growth is a continuous process. If the person handles each stage of life well, they'll develop a sense of mastery of what we call ego strength. Meaning, they feel confident or makaana sila nga kaya ra jud ko ni, I am capable of it. Pero if kanang dili pud nimo manage og tarong ang kini nga stage kay maka-feel sila og kanang being inadequate or not good enough sa kanang nga area of development. Pero timan-an na po nimo miskan kani siya negative siya ang pagka-feel nimo nga inadequate, you can still learn man gihapon, heal sa later in life. What makes Erikson's theory strong is that it's very relatable.
many people can connect their own life experiences. Bisan kamo makarelate din mo ani sa theory ni Erikson kay about kani siya sa stages sa life. Kay ikaw, nag-agi pud ikaw og stages sa life. However, there are some downsides. Kay dili clear si Erikson kung unsay nag-cause sa development ug nganong unsaon nila pag-solve ang conflicts kada stage. Mao nang wala jay clear way to fix or solve or fix every crisis. Nagdepende ra gina siya sa person kung unsaon niya pag-handle ang situation. Before ending the report, I would just like to say that growth isn't about avoiding conflict, it's about becoming stronger as we overcome it.